All right, good evening, everyone. It is so great to see this house packed here in the council chambers. This is a beautiful sight. I know everybody up here is very excited. Does this not look beautiful?
It's right.
It does look great. So, first thing, before we get into our council meeting tonight, we do have a public hearing. Public hearing is now called to order. The purpose of that is the Friends of the Port Royal Cypress Wetlands is applying for a grant from the South Carolina Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Recreational Trails Program for matching financial assistance to pay for the completion of the Cypress Wetlands Pathway Replacement Plan Phase 2. If you notice, there's been some replacement done over there. It looks great, and this is just the next step to kind of get that complete. This is Scott Clark. He is the chairman of the Friends of the Cypress Wetlands. I see a lot of the people that are Friends of the Cypress Wetlands in the board in here. They do an amazing job. And at this time, I'll just turn it over to you, Scott, and let us know what we're doing.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for coming out to see me.
Way to get a crowd,
Always.
Scott.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. To further the mission of the Friends of Port Royal Cypress Wetlands, which is to support, educate, and advocate for the Cypress Wetlands, we are applying for a $100,000 grant on behalf of the town of Port Royal with the South Carolina Department of Parks, Recreations, and Trails. This public meeting is a requirement of that grant application process. And I think Brooke is already sending around the sign-in sheet, so if everybody would please sign that, that's great.
Yeah, I'll say really quick, that is also a part of the process.
That's right.
Is this public hearing, so if you could, please make sure that you do sign the sign-in sheet. That just will help us out in getting approved for this grant. So please make sure, if you haven't signed it, it's going around, make sure you get a hold of that before you leave. We would appreciate that very much.
There we go. Okay, so briefly, a description of the scope of the project. In green, going around the north and west side of the trail, and then again down at the 16th Street Island area, we have 1,424 lineal feet of 5-foot wide pathway that needs to be replaced as Phase 2. Phase 1, the area in yellow that we just recently completed, is 775 lineal feet, and we also, as many of you know, we addressed the drainage issue at the YMCA. Phase 1 is not part of this grant application process. It's only Phase 2. I was giving you that as a point of reference. So what we're going to be doing, as we did in Phase 1 with this, is we cannot completely comply with ADA compliance because of the existing topo, but we're going to do the best we can in all areas. One thing that we can do, just like we did in Phase 1, is the cross slope, which is the left to right slope of the pathway, is going to be flattened out, so it's no more than 2%, which meets ADA. And then as far as the vertical rise is concerned, where it's greater than 1 in 12, we're going to do our best to flatten that out, to extend the ramp or the run longer to get it closer to the 1 in 12, trying to get as close as we can to ADA compliance. There are 3 staging areas that we're using for this project because there's 3 kind of distinct zones. The first one is up behind the fire and police department. We're going to be capturing the area that is right now the handicap parking. So that's area 1. Area 2 is just north of Helena Square. Those folks have been wonderful to deal with while we were working on the boardwalk replacement project, and I'm assuming that they're going to be just as gracious when the time comes for this. And lastly is where 17th Street and the pathway meet on the south side of the page there. We're going to be capturing that area for the section of work that we're going to be doing there that's highlighted in green. Let's see. Talked about that. Oh, I'm also going to, before we start the project, I'm going to be going around and meeting with all the stakeholders for those 3 locations to make sure they're up to speed on what we're actually doing. The award date is scheduled for late March of 2026. And once we are notified, once we're awarded the project, which I'm hoping we get, I will finalize the scope of work and the bid package. And then, as a requirement of the state procurement process, this will be advertised and bid. And I hope to award sometime in July or August. And just like we did in Phase 1, we will not start the work for this phase until the fall so that we can have as little disruption as possible to the birds and the other wildlife out there. And finally, as with all grants, the town will have to pay the contractors for this work upon completion. Once they pay the contractors, I will submit for the reimbursement and to the South Carolina Parks and Recreation Department. So that's all I have. Willing to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions?
I do not have any questions. Like I said, it looks great so far, and you know, by a quick show of hands, how many people in the room have been to the Cypress Wetlands? Look at that. It's clearly a jewel in the town, something that's very important to us. And so thank you to your board members I see wearing the shirts.
Yep.
And all the work you do. You'll do an amazing job with that for something that's so special to the town. So thank you. Of course, we're here any way we can help, anything you need from us. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Well done.
All right, and that now ends our public hearing. We will now move into December 10th, 2025, council meeting here in the Yvonne C. Butler Council Chambers at 700 Paris Avenue in the great town of Port Royal, South Carolina. At first up, Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Guerrero, you could lead us
Mayor,
in that.
if you'll indulge me, I'd like to take the challenge of doing prayers, so if somebody could
okay,
do the pledge,
okay.
I'd love that.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Pledge
allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Caught me off guard last time, but I'm a little wordy, but I think it's deserving for us to close the year out. So if you
Thank
would,
you.
please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts as we gather for this meeting on behalf of the town of Port Royal. Thank you for guiding us through a meaningful and productive 2025, through every challenge met, every goal advanced, and every blessing received. We acknowledge your hand in the growth, unity, and resilience of our community. As we look toward 2026, we ask for your continued wisdom and clarity. Grant us the confidence to make decisions rooted in integrity, the courage to pursue bold opportunities, and the vigor to carry out the work that strengthens and uplifts our town. May collaboration, respect, and a spirit of service define all that we do. Bless our council members, town staff, and every resident of Port Royal. May this meeting be marked by purpose, understanding, and progress. Guide our words, shape our actions, help us lead with both humility and hope. It's in your name that we pray this. Amen.
Amen.
Well done, Deacon.
Yes, so that was funny. So
Now he's
if you
in the
notice, we
list.
start off every meeting with Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. We usually switch that up. And he's right. Last meeting, I just sprung it on him at the last minute. I was like, can you pray? And he was like, no, not right now. So, but then we were at an event on Saturday, and he gave a prayer, and it was a beautiful prayer. So I texted him. I was like, oh, I didn't know you could pray like that. So thank you for stepping up and doing that for us. That was good. Yes, sir. Okay.
I don't do weddings yet, but
Okay. Up next, we've got approval of minutes from the public hearing of November 5th, 2025, minutes from the council workshop of November 5th, 2025, minutes from the council meeting of November 12th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections, deletions?
I didn't see it.
Noted.
Okay, all right. With all that, hereby saying aye?
Aye.
Right, the minutes are in the record books. Okay, up now, if you remember, just last month, we had an election, and we had two very special people win those elections. You're looking at them right beside me. And so tonight, we do this every 2 years. At the end of the year, we have our oath of office for council members. And so this time we will swear in not our new council members, but our distinguished council members. I believe we have a honorable judge with us here? Yes, absolutely. So you all want to take a step down there? I know you got some family here. Yeah, we can do two. Yeah, we'll just, no, we'll do Daryl's and then Mary Beth's, yeah.
Alright. Ready? All right, Mr. Owens, it is my distinct honor to administer this oath of office for an elected official for the town of Port Royal. So you already have your hand on the Bible. Please raise your other hand and repeat after me. All right.
I, Darrell Owens,
Solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I am duly
that I
qualified,
am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of office
to exercise the duties of office
to which I have been
to
elected,
which I've been elected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my
to the
ability,
best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve,
and preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the
and
Constitution
defend the Constitution
of this state
of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, we're almost there. We got a little more. As council member of the town of Port Royal,
As council member of the town of Port Royal,
I will equally,
I will equally,
fairly,
fairly,
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my
to the
ability
best of my ability
and skill,
and skill,
exercise the trust
exercise the trust
reposed in me,
reposed in me,
and will use my best endeavor
and will use my best endeavor
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect,
and carry into effect,
according to the law,
according to the law,
the purposes
the purposes
for which I have been
for
elected.
which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Hey. Okay,
All right.
now we got one more. Mary Beth, you done this before?
Who wants to hold the Bible for you?
Who's counting? Miss Murray, you want to hold Bible, please?
Good? All right.
It's like they're scared. You need that tonight.
Again, I am honored to present the oath of office for the elected official for the town of Port Royal. I,
I,
state your
Mary
name,
Beth Gray Hayward,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of office
to exercise the duties of office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve,
and preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, part two. As council member of the town of Port Royal,
As council member of the town of Port Royal,
I will equally,
I will equally,
fairly,
fairly,
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and skill,
and skill,
exercise the trust
exercise the trust
reposed in me,
reposed in me,
and will use my best endeavor
and will use my best endeavor
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect,
and carry into effect,
according to the law,
according to the law,
the purposes
the purposes
for which I have been elected.
for which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mary Beth, y'all want to, get a picture of everybody. It was blocking.
All right, here we go. Ready in 1, 2, 3. Make sure I have all.
I asked
That's
him to
me.
do that tonight, but I always close my eyes and dare.
All right. Great. All right. Thank y'all, thank y'all.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Here's to 4 more years. I can tell you I've been serving with these two people for a while now, and they exude service and love of community every day. You will not find two people that love Port Royal more than these two people on my left and right. And it's just, they're an inspiration to me, and it's really an honor to serve with y'all. So good to see you back for another 4 years. So,
Thank you.
all
We're honored.
right. All right, oath of office done. Up next, proclamation, Arbor Day, Beaufort Garden Club. Is there anybody from the garden club here? If not, that's fine. They did a great job. What was it, either yesterday or 2 days ago? It's the Christmas season, days are running together, it's busy. Yesterday, the Beaufort Arbor Club, the Beaufort Garden Club, they showed up at Port Royal Elementary School. They planted a beautiful tree on the playground with the kids. It was exciting. They showed them, they were mixing the dirt, and the kids were getting into it. And it was really exciting to see the kids get that excited about, Mother Nature and how important she is to all of us. So I will read Arbor Day proclamation here. Whereas the first Arbor Day was established in 1872 by the Nebraska Board of Agriculture and was observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees, become a tradition that has since spread throughout the nation and the whole. And whereas the state of South Carolina has celebrated Arbor Day for the first Friday in December since 1934, recognizing the importance of preserving and enhancing our state's natural resources, and whereas South Carolina's rich natural landscape, from the low country to the upstate, depend on the protection and continued growth of healthy trees and forests, and whereas trees play a vital role in improving South Carolina's environment by reducing erosion of precious topsoil, conserving energy by providing shade and windbreaks, moderating temperatures, improving air quality, producing oxygen, and providing essential habits for wildlife. And whereas trees are a valuable renewable resource in South Carolina, contributing to our state's forest industry and providing lumber, paper, and many other products essential to daily life. And whereas trees in the town of Port Royal enhance property values, strengthen their economic vitality of our business areas, support stormwater resilience, and beautify our community. And whereas the town of Port Royal demonstrates its commitment to its trees as a nationally recognized Tree City USA community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, bring joy, natural beauty, and a sense of renewal to the residents and visitors alike. Therefore, I, Kevin Phillips, Mayor of the town of Port Royal, do hereby proclaim December 5th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the town of Port Royal, South Carolina, and urge all citizens to recognize the importance of trees, to support community efforts to protect and expand our tree canopy, and to participate in activities that celebrate and promote environmental stewardship. And further, I encourage all citizens to plant and care for trees to enrich our community and promote the well-being of current and future generations, dated this 10th day of December 2025. So that's something, as you know, Port Royal's got a tree ordinance that we're all very proud of, and to see that recognized as a Tree City USA, we've had that for many years, and we're proud to keep that. So we know that's one of the things that makes Port Royal, such a beautiful place, and a place we're lucky to call home. So we just wanted to give them recognition right there at Arbor Day. So up next, we've got some presentations. First is Bands, Brews, and Barbecue from the, I think the Zonta Club. Yes, ma'am. Miss Larson, come on down, please. Give us a little update about what we can expect. We're all looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Mayor, Council. Last year was our first attempt at Bands, Brews, and Barbecue, and we learned a whole lot, and we had a lot of fun, and we hope that the town had a lot of fun, and we would like to do it again. So we are asking, as a formal request, for an in-kind sponsorship, Town of Port Royal. We would like to use Paris Avenue for the event. We would like the use of a large stage for the entertainment, for the parking lot adjacent to the shed, police presence for public safety, and assistance for public works for the placement of the stage, cones, and barricades. In appreciation, we would like to offer in-kind sponsorship as the Flaming Sponsorship Package, which is valued at $5,000. We get the logo placement on your social media platforms, T-shirts, and stage banner. We'll link the logo to the Bands, Brew, and Barbecue website and social media. We'll have a microphone opportunity on Saturday. and we'll have one 10 by 10 vendor space available should you want it. We would also like, in addition, we would like 6 judge seats be awarded for the wings
I volunteer.
throw down. Everybody liked that part of it. 150 food and drink tickets and 10 event T-shirts. So we really thank you in advance. You've always been very, very helpful to work with and easy to work with. And if you have any questions,
What is the date?
it's 13, 14 February 2026, sir.
Thank you.
And Friday night is from 6 to 10. The judging starts at 5:30. And on Saturday, it'll be 11 to 4.
Okay.
Very good, thank
Any
you.
questions? Yeah, no, I don't
Oh, it's a
think-
great event.
Don't think any of that will be a problem. So absolutely, yes,
I've got the
ma'am.
letter, would you like it?
Yes, please, absolutely.
It'll be great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Merry Christmas. Okay. Up next for presentations, we've got something I think some people are here to see, I don't know, maybe. But we do have a presentation here from, about our master plan that we want to do. And just to kind of give everybody a little bit about what we're going to, how we're going to go through this, what we've got planned. We've got representative from Safe Harbor, she's going to make a few comments, and then we've also got Dan, who's the engineer that did a great job on this. He's going to get up, we'll put it up on the screen here, talk about it, and go from there. We've also got our attorney as well, who's going to give some words and kind of let everybody know about, how we got here and where we're headed. And I'll just kind of kick it off by saying we're really excited about this. This is something, if you think about it, this property was owned by the state for ever. In the year 2017, it was sold into private hands. It was the first time it ever went from public property to private property, and it was sold then. This is the first time since 2017 there actually has been a plan submitted to the town for approval. Before that, there's been conceptual plans. I'm sure everybody's seen. There's been some drawings and some plans and some concepts out there. But this is the first time there's actually been a formal plan worked on with the developer about this property. And Safe Harbor has been a great partner in this. They have, ever since we finalized our settlement agreement in February of this year. Last year was really spent negotiating, a lot of negotiations, back and forth, back and forth. We went up to Columbia, they came down here, a lot of Zoom meetings and calls and back and forth, really kind of getting out, where everybody wanted to see this going, the things that are important to the town, the things that are important to Safe Harbor. Because, at the end of the day, to remember this is, it is Safe Harbor's property. We are their partners, and we work with them, and we're an important piece of that. And so they've been since we got that settlement agreement agreed upon in February, we'll go through some of that as well, too, and really the things that we've accomplished through that we think really for the betterment of the town. And we're just excited to be here. If you notice, the master plan that we're going to present to you tonight really is just kind of the Marina Village area. I spoke with some of the heads of Safe Harbor today, and I'm sure they'll reiterate that their intentions for the residential, which is basically the portion behind Shellring, what we had, the bluff in that area, is the residential portion of this development. They are still planning to move forward with divesting themselves from that. They have no plans. They've reiterated us, we don't build neighborhoods. We never have. We're not trying to get in the business of building neighborhoods. So that will be sold off to a residential developer. Some of the good things about that is we've codified some requirements and what can be done on that in the development agreement. So whoever buys that property to develop it will be bound by the rules of the development agreement and the settlement agreement that we got done earlier this year. So any questions for the residential and that kind of area up there? We really don't know yet, because we don't know who's going to buy it and we don't know what their plans are. But as soon as that person, as soon as that deal is done and that comes forward, we'll do it the same way as this and bring that forward and talk about it very openly and publicly with everybody. So I think at this time, just wanted to get Ms. Carla Ferguson from Safe Harbor.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, hey.
Honorable members of our town council and our town staff. As he said, I am Carla Ferguson. I'm the general manager of Safe Harbor Port Royal. And on behalf of the entire Safe Harbor team, I am extending holiday greetings to everyone. We want to thank you for your continued collaboration. We are excited about the future, and tonight we are taking the next step. Our Chief Development Officer, Colby Cooper, sends his regards and regrets that he is unable to be here tonight. He is in Dallas for our year-end operational meetings along with my direct boss, Ron Giff, our Regional Vice President. Would like to offer a few comments about our partnership. Safe Harbor aligns with town's long-term vision for a vibrant, accessible, and resilient Port Royal waterfront. Our partnership continues to strengthen. The presentation of the master plan tonight is a joint accomplishment we can celebrate together. The master plan is a generational investment focused on modernizing the marina infrastructure, expanding the public access, and reflecting Port Royal's character. Safe Harbor does remain fully committed to transparency, the dialogue, and the collaboration throughout the process. And with that, Dan Kiefer.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Carla. Yes, and again, I spoke with, like I said, yes, give him a round of applause, and Carla too. Great job. Yeah. No, and so as you heard, Safe Harbor, they are based out of Dallas. That is their headquarters. Spoke with them today, and as you heard, they're basically everybody at a certain level of operations, they're all out there having basically their end of the year strategic meeting. So a lot of those positions, they are, like I said, you heard, sorry they couldn't be here. However, I can tell you they've been very involved in this process since we started this. So while they are in Dallas right now, having a week-long operational strategic plan meeting for, as most companies do. I know a lot of companies kind of finish out the year with that meeting. That's where they are. But thank you, Carla, for being here, and thank you for your words. And again, we'll just turn this over to Dan, and if you could just kind of talk to us about, how we got here, where we are, the thought behind it. I'll kind of preface it really quick with when we sat down, Safe Harbors is a marina company. They want to have a world-class marina, operations where they are working on boats, where it is a working boatyard, working boat facility. And we always liked that idea in the sense that is what Port Royal always has been. Port Royal always has been and is built on a working marina. That is what has built Port Royal. But at the same time, the town, we want to provide as much access to the water, open space, civic places to hang, to commune, to get together as possible. And that was kind of what we were trying to do with building this, was how do we have a working marina and a working, boat operation at the same time while providing a really world-class experience for our, residents, but also the people that are going to visit us, and how do we tie that all together in this property that sits out there. And with that, I'll let Dan kind of take it away.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having us this evening. Again, my name's Dan Kiefer. I'm a land planner and landscape architect, and our company's Whitmer Jones Kiefer. So thank you again, and we enjoyed the workshop. I think that was very beneficial. I think we got to meet most everybody here. So thank you for setting that up. That was, I think, very helpful as a preview. So we've got 3 plans we're going to look at. First plan, sort of what we would consider existing conditions and some near-term planning, things that are sort of happening now. And then we've got an overall vision or concept plan for the Port Village. And then we have what we're calling a phase 1 plan that talks a little bit about what could be immediate happening as far as a phase 1 for the property. So first plan, it says near-term master plan.
This is, you are here.
Yep, you are here. Town Hall, if I get Van to point, Town Hall, that's the constant on all the plans. A is a big topic of conversation. That's the terminal, or was the terminal building. Now it's the concrete slab. E is the existing dry stack building. And then D is basically the marina shipyard now as it exists today. As far as in the water, what's highlighted in white where it says face dock, that's the permitted marina today. So that's permitted with the state. That what's in white and actually what's in black is all permitted. What's highlighted in white would be a potential phase 1 of that marina. So we included that on this plan mainly because that's a lengthy process. And getting that permit is probably harder than building it. So we have that on here as part of essentially an existing condition because it's permitted and ready to go. So that's, and one other thing I'll point out, it's hard to read, but you have Town Hall and Paris Avenue is running north-south on the plan. That's the other thing that we'll see on all these plans. So next slide. So this is this plan shows sort of everything that could happen as part of a redevelopment of this area, of redevelopment of Port Village. So starting at the top of the plan in the middle, again, looking at Town Hall and Paris Avenue, we're looking at extending Paris Avenue and giving it more of a terminus. Right now it sort of ends, there's no ending point. So that where you see number 2, would be a small park space, an arrival, mainly for vehicles, a little drop-off zone. That green dot in the middle of number 2 is one of the remaining magnolia trees.
Calling that Millet Park, right?
Mill Park, on Magnolia line, yep. So that would be an arrival for vehicles and an ending point. And then, just as important, and probably more important, would be if you're walking down Paris Avenue, you could continue walking south all the way to the water to where it says Promenade. So the pedestrian connection would be very strong. Down Paris Avenue, you could walk straight all the way down to where it's labeled Waterfront Promenade. The Waterfront Promenade obviously would extend all the way up north and off the page to the existing
So that's
fish
sort of
camp.
connecting, like you said, you come down Paris Avenue and begin kind of
And
just
connect
turning
all the
and
way up
walking on
to
the
the
water.
Spanish
right
Moss
there.
Trail, yeah. So that's one of the main highlights of the plan is the Paris Avenue connection, an ending point to Paris Avenue for vehicles and for pedestrians. Then another thing, looking at the plan, 7th Street and 8th Street would both connect west, as they probably should have done 100 years ago. They would just extend all the way to the water. And looking at 7th, it would extend west all the way until it hits what we're calling the town park, number 1. And it would transition from a street to a pedestrian connection where you see the yellow highlighted area. Same thing with 8th, that would extend all the way, and then it would connect to the northern side of the town park to another public space. That could be where you see those small buildings. We were thinking that could be a farmer's market or another town space. It could be a stage, other elements as part of the town park. So basically everything between 7th and 8th, where you see the number 1, would be the town park. And then the 3, where you see the number 3s, those are I don't want to say future, but they're planned as retail, residential, restaurants, other commercial type uses that would either front on the Waterfront Promenade or front on the new block that we're creating. Obviously, one of the big things is the street connections, walkability, and then how that ties to parking. So all these streets would have on-street parking, sidewalks, street trees, street lights, that connection that you'd expect as part of an extension of the town streets. And depending on how where you see the number 3s, how they get planned as far as building use, there may be more or less parking associated with them.
It really just feels like that around there is really a town center. I mean, like you said,
Absolutely,
parking
yes.
on the street, lights lit up, so.
So that's sort of overall in this plan. We can come back to this, but we'll flip to.
Well, really quick, I
Okay.
just wanted, just
Yep.
for everybody out there, so if you remembered our last meeting, it was 2 meetings ago. So we're standing up a committee to kind of deal with, because the property from basically here, Fish Camp's right above that, the top part over there. And we're standing up, we voted on last week to stand up a committee with a representative of Shell Ring, Fish Camp, Safe Harbor, Spanish Moss Trail, and the town to work on the configuration of that area. Because we know with the restaurants there, we know with, you got trash, you've got parking, we've got the Spanish Moss Trail is going to be coming through that. And so that area above that is another phase of how do we connect that all? And so just so everybody knows, again, we have stood up that committee, I believe at our last meeting, and that'll be a committee that'll be starting to get together next year to kind of talk about that whole area, from Shell Ring, Fish Camp to what you see there, so.
Perfect.
With ultimately the goal being, were you about to go to the next slide?
Oh, go ahead.
No, are we still on this slide or are we going to the next one?
Next slide, but it's very similar.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, can we go back to the other one?
Yeah.
Please. Let's focus on this one, it's beautiful. And just to kind of, just a few points that I wanted, to talk about, because things that we mentioned, things that we, when we were dealing with this process, we met, I don't know, 4 or 5 times in person here in Town Hall. The original plan did not have as much commercial space on the water. The commercial space was pushed back. The town came to them and said, no, the idea that we want, again, is to have people access to the water. We want people to be able to walk completely up and down it. We want people to have restaurants and bars and places to spend time together. The park wasn't initially there. There was conversations about, do you do one big park or a bunch of little parks? And we want to just kind of come down on having a centerpiece that draws the town, provides options for events. With the town, we're really excited about the idea that the town will have ownership of these roads, just as we do with 9th, 10th, Paris Avenue. We can close all that down, and those can now be, like I said, that can now be for any kind of concerts, festivals, Christmas parties, anything we want to do. Literally, you can start to think of really amazing things you can do once you look at how this town center will be set up with the access, with multiple, like I said, restaurant, F&B facilities, the mixed use, they'll have commercial units above, the open space park, and again, number 3 right there is another space. So if you're looking at it, that's a lot of commercial space on the water. One of the things that we did talk about was the parking, and that presented something to us because by state statute, you're required by how many boat slips, how many parking spaces you have to have. And so that number is really kind of set that you have to figure out. That parking there will be for Safe Harbor guests as well as public too. So that is going to be open to, like I said, Safe Harbor does have their guests. They have their people at the marinas. Some of those spaces will be for those, and they will have operations there. They'll have people working there, people like Carla and her employees, and they'll be working there. And so, but also that parking lot will be, have access to the public as well too. Again, I just want to say, and kudos to the people up here on this council because they each brought something different that was important. Promenade. I think you said that word 100 times.
Probably 1,000.
Exactly. And that was important. And Scott Graber out there, he brought that up, that was an important piece. And so, and I just want to reiterate, I appreciate the process of it because it really was, it's not like you're just redeveloping something. If you've been out there, it's flat. There's not a road, there's not a utility, there's not a pipe, there's not a fiber. And so that is kind of, and just to talk about that, next steps will be, now that we have this plan in place, again, it's the utilities, and we'll get that into the next slide. But again, I just hope, like I said, it really combined what we were looking for with the town. Again, access to the water, walking promenade, open civic space, communal places of bars and restaurants, commercial retail, shops, all within a walkable, connectable, where you can get your golf cart, your bike, you can walk there, and it connects. As you see, we extended the matrix of the town, the grid of the town, which I think really makes sense. And also too, with the town having that roundabout in there, that really is going to kind of give it an entrance. Like this is the Port of Port Royal entrance. So again, I just wanted to say again, because this is where we're headed. Right now we're going to go look at a picture of what you're going to see happen first. And again, that first thing is going to be just the utilities and that basic stuff. But if, again, and also Safe Harbor, our partners, it's important to them. They're going to run a marina over there. So you're going to have boats being pulled out of the water. You're going to have the Connex boxes. You see those. Those are going to be that coming. We learned this during the process. It's just things you learn. Some of those large sailboats that you see out there, those things are, $100 million boats. Those travel around the world. I didn't know this. I've never been on a $100 million boat. But so they've got when those travel, they basically have a Connex box that travels around the world with them. It's like their pit crew, if you think about NASCAR. And so they wanted to have Connex boxes. And so we reached an agreement here where we came on a number of 8. They're not stackable. And so that's what that is. That's to provide, because, it's really unique what the port offers with it being such a natural deep port and what kind of boats they can get in there. And so we wanted to be accommodating to Safe Harbor and what they need and what they want out of this, which again is to have a functioning, operating marina with a very unique, like I said, not very many marinas where you see boats like you see out there right now, and you see the boats that are coming in. So I didn't want any comments or anything from council looking at it?
No, I think they've been very cooperative in doing what we've asked and, kept up with our master plan, having open vistas to each road, and the promenade deck that I know that Safe Harbor was probably tired of hearing me say, but it was something that this town wanted, and, you know, having that access to the water, you don't know how much we appreciate that, because it's important that everybody gets to use the water and have access to it. Thank you.
I'm just going to make a comment about the Connex boxes. We did look at that hard, and we had a lot of discussion about that, because we didn't want it to look like just an industrial, you know, shipyard with just Connex boxes. But we recognize the fact that as these boats travel around the world, they do come with their own equipment, and then there is a storage area that's needed for those. So we put a set number of Connex boxes that we could have in there. And you'll see that, and it's kind of tucked away, so it's not, you know, so visible, but we understand it is necessary.
Absolutely, and then Councilman Owens, any comments?
No, I'm just happy to see also, you know, we pride ourselves on connectivity, pedestrian-friendly community. And so definitely this plan does present that, where neighbors will have free access to walk and congregate and fellowship and connect from point A to the Sands Beach eventually. So, and that's what I like also, the connectivity, and you can get on foot, or you can bring your golf cart and just enjoy.
Yeah.
The promenade area is not out over the water, so
Right.
you're not going to see any potential eroding of a promenade area, because it's going to be on solid land there.
And like I said, when I look at it, just, you know, we wanted to bring because pictures are worth 1,000 words, and you can really just imagine and see it. This connecting to Fish Camp, connecting to Shell Ring, already very well established, you know, places in Port Royal, and now you could go from there and literally just walk or ride all the way down the waterfront, go over to some more places, enjoy yourself, go to the park, go check out the boats. I really do think it's a really good mix and a blend, and it kind of got what I think everyone was really looking for.
And without missing a beat, we don't forget about our already established businesses on Paris Avenue.
Absolutely.
It slingshots you
Yep.
back to it. And I think that was really important to me, to see that, where they work really hard for what they do. And you know, everybody likes the new shiny thing, and this is really appreciated to see how much care was taken to keep that, right, bringing them back down
Yep.
to that Circle Drive there, to give them an opportunity to see that, explore it or whatever. And nowhere on this plan am I seeing that Safe Harbor's segregating themselves from the town.
Yeah.
Right, there's no gates, there is that for very special, you know, members for Safe Harbor, but that goes along with a lot of things, but, I mean, the willingness to share the parking, because it's gonna alleviate that concern that we always have that concern here, you know, and, yeah, I mean, there's just so much care that was taken with the group and how they did it, and,
Yeah.
I mean, how the communication was just, man, top notch. It's been wonderful.
And we talked about that. We didn't want it to be like, you know, you go to Port Royal and then now you're in like Safe Harbor
Harbor
town.
land.
You know, now this is Safe Harbor land and now you're in Port Royal. We wanted it to be one development, one town, and Safe Harbor's Marina is a part of the town. And so that was a great point that we wanted to see, yeah, because, you know, we didn't want it, like you said, not segregated off and it's just, well, the town's over here and then Safe Harbor's over here. No, it's all one thing. It's all one thing in one place, so.
Parking was important also, because you're going to bring people down here. They got a place to park, so we took that into consideration as well.
Cool. All right, with no more questions on that one, you can we'll go to
Sure.
the next phase.
Yep, so what we're looking at is same plan, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for pointing out some of the highlights. And I think this plan is important, because to get the retail, to get the mixed-use opportunities, we need to create place. So the easy way to do that is to build some of the public infrastructure. So what we're looking at is what's highlighted in red would be potentially phase one elements. So probably most importantly, we would extend 7th and 8th and create that new block where it says future development. And that would basically give you the parking and access to what's number 3, which is the town park. So you'd have that finished look where you come down Paris Avenue, and first time you're arriving here, you come down to the end, get the great view, and you make that right-hand turn, and you end up at the town park without even trying. You pull over and you've arrived. And if you miss it, you'll just loop back around and continue to drive it. And then for the marina side, the same thing in white would be the phase one of the marina. The number 2, that's the marina operations building, and then the marina parking. So that gets established as well, Phase 1, along with the connectivity of Paris Avenue down to the promenade. So we thought it was important to sort of outline, expectation was how Phase 1 would be laid out in terms of access and getting sort of the town park established, along with the marina and the operations of the marina.
Yeah, exactly. And you hit on that very well. The thought process of that Phase 1 was kind of, if you build it, they will come. And that, so, again, if you go out there, first things first is infrastructure. But that's going to be the start. And as you talked about, extending 8th Street, 7th Street, making that block. And while, marina's being built, the park is going up as well too, and once those things, that's an attraction. Now people are coming, now people are spending time, people are on boats, they're getting off boats, and then that now kind of dictates, once commercial is happening, what exactly is going in there, what type of restaurant, what type of retail, what type of that. So we didn't want to wait on having all of the buildings built before we get something for the town citizens and everyone to enjoy. So that was important that we stated, and they heard that while this marina is being built, we want to do something that the people of the town can use as well and can start accessing the property. And the one that made sense of that was getting the park built first. So getting that built, and now, like you said, now you've got a marina, you've got parking, you've got infrastructure, you've got this civic park, and now you've got people coming in from there. It kind of grows out from there. So, yeah. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Cool. Well, do you have anything for us, Dan?
Nope, I think that's it, but we're available for any of the
Yeah,
other things.
absolutely. Thinking, I hope you guys got here a little early, got to spend some time talking to Dan. And so, again, some major takeaways that we wanted you to get from this is that residential area up there is still set to be sold off to a residential developer, and we will go through that planning process when that happens. The big takeaways from this, again, from the town was access to the water, walking promenades, connectivity, food and beverage establishments, places to spend time, civic open space, and then just, again, the town having the ability to, we can close that area off, and the possibilities are, endless of what we can do there. And again, just doing it in coordination with our partners of Safe Harbor. So we're very excited about it, and again, this is a big step. This is the first time, again, like I said, since 2017, an actual plan has been handed to our planning department, and so it's great to see. So with that, Dan, thank you so
Great.
much.
We appreciate
Yeah,
it. Thank you very
absolutely.
much.
Thanks, Dan. All right. Up next, I think we're going to have our attorney, the Honorable Lawrence Flynn, up with us. He's here. We might as well get our money's worth.
Works for me.
I say that colleague to colleague. Yeah.
I'll make this pretty quick. So I think the things that we just wanted to make sure we checked the box on, y'all may remember we went through the process in order to be able to get to the point of being able to develop.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, and so we wanted to have Lawrence talk, and really just we just want to reiterate to everybody, because sometimes not everybody makes a meeting, and sometimes town business is handled, and if you don't go for a couple months, you're kind of, what's happening? And we really wanted everyone to think about how we got here, because again, last year was spent a lot of negotiations. We hashed out this settlement agreement, which lays out how we got here, and that was finalized in February of this year, so 10 months ago. And I just wanted Lawrence to kind of reiterate to us and to the town as well, if we can go through that, and let's talk about what's been done, what's been accomplished, what's been settled from the settlement agreement in the past 10 months.
Yeah, I think at a really high level, and maybe the short answer here is, I'd say most of it.
Yeah.
It's been a kind of a long and attenuated path to get to where we are today. But the settlement agreement was the impetus for being able to get this master plan into the form that it is today, and what kind of reset the conversation between the town and Safe Harbor to be able to recognize that we both needed each other. It's a mutual relationship that both parties needed the other. And so the first part of that settlement agreement was laying out the foundation and the parameters for the new, the extension to the development agreement. And you can see those kind of laid out there. All of those have been specifically approved. Y'all may remember in the aftermath of signing the settlement agreement, we came in June, we adopted an extension to the development agreement, which became the third amended development agreement for this property, which extends the development agreement rights on the site for a period of up to 5 years. We also amended and restated the planned unit development, which is the zoning or the land use restrictions on the property that was done at the same time as well, and we laid out the parameters in this settlement agreement. On number 2, one of the major items that council had concerns with, and I think was expressed in this chamber more times than I care to admit, was the concerns about build-to-rent housing. We established some caps specifically delineated in the planned use development that were agreed to between the parties as a condition of the settlement agreement, capping that at 15% of the qualified residential development.
And so this
on
is
site.
then the part I mentioned to earlier, when that residential area is eventually sold to whoever the residential developer is, they buy that bound by this. So, you know, they can only have 15% of whatever homes they build can be rental units. So, you know, simple numbers, they build 100 homes, 15 can be rentals, and 85 of them have to be sold as single families units. So we thought that was important. And again, it's just something to keep in mind as we move forward. Just because we're talking about the Marina Village, we haven't forgotten about the residential, and we're keeping our eye on that as well too. And it's codified in this settlement agreement right here, so.
That's exactly right. The third part of it was designating the Spanish Moss Trail, specifically coming across Rebo Road. Y'all may remember we had a grant from DOT to be able to make that curb cut. There were significant considerations on both sides of it. Obviously, the town didn't want to lose the money that had already been allocated to it, but Safe Harbor had considerations because they didn't exactly know how this development was going to move into fruition. So we identified a temporary land use arrangement to be able to run the Spanish Moss Trail. It's going to allow us to extend it through the property. Obviously, that's part of the continuation of walkability, and so we have that agreement memorialized and
And
executed.
as you can see, the Spanish Moss Trail is in Port Royal right now. Absolutely, so. Not
Correct.
fully open, we're saying don't use it yet, but it's out there if you go look at it.
So prior to my involvement with this this development, I think it was maybe just Mary Beth that was around at the time. The original conversation had to do with development of a seafood facility, and there were some considerations built into the original development agreement around how we would establish that new seafood facility on a going forward basis. It was originally identified as a particular parcel and then an allocation based on the valuation under the original development agreement. That then got amended to this $150,000 allocation of cost to build a facility. And we removed all of that in favor of taking down Lot G, which is the spot between the brewery and the restaurant that currently exists now. So everyone recognizes it because I think everyone kind of spills into that Lot G. That's the area that the city will also have access for its public docks in the future. So we now have control of Lot G that has been acquired, as well as the beer garden property, which I think most Port Royal residents will remember from the COVID days of being the property that was used as part of the beer garden. So those have been exchanged, and there was a property swap that we agreed to. That was also done as part of the process of memorializing the new development agreement.
And so that's happened, so the town
Correct.
owns that. So in Lot G, the thought process behind that for everyone is that we're bringing the shrimp docks back, the shrimp boat back. That is happening. We've been in conversations. I think if the permit hasn't been filed yet, it's any day now or next week. I mean, they're really going through the last permit to cross the Ts and dot the Is to get that permit to build that dock back. One of the pieces was who's going to own the land where the dock touches the dirt. And so now the town owns that, and now we can move forward with the ownership, with the permit to build that back. The beer garden, if everybody remembers, was back when COVID happened. Nick Borgini and Shell Ring opened up that great commercial, space for everybody out there. And the town thought it was really important just to give us more options for Sands Beach. What can you do on Sands Beach? What parking? I mean, there's a lot of talk and options about what we can do there, but one of the things was we didn't own that land. So now we do. It just gives us more options, more space down there at Sands Beach to continue to grow it and make it, the destination that it is and going to continue to be. So that's done.
Absolutely. Items 5 and 6 are kind of consolidated together, and y'all would have probably seen those today. So item 5 was the development of the initial master plan for the marina site. That's now been presented, and I think everyone had the opportunity to see that
Within
tonight.
6 months, done?
Within 6 months, that's exactly right. So basically, the goal is to get that done by the end of the year. I think we made the development agreements effective as of July 1, so we did it with 20 days to spare.
Cool.
Same idea. These were some considerations that Safe Harbor wanted to basically allow for the functional use of the site. The mayor's already alluded to the need for the Connex boxes and the restroom facilities to be able to tie in with sanitary sewer and potable water. We've continued to meet with them. Obviously, we got to this point by continuing to have regular communications and regular conversations, largely and most recently around the master plan, but making sure up through the date of signing the development agreement or signing the settlement agreement, tying in and updating the development agreement and the plan use development amendments. All of that's been done, and so I think standing up the new committee to talk about interconnectivity and how we move forward with this plan moving forward will stay on that same course.
I want to say
with the
something about that
3-monthly
because
meetings.
they've, the first meeting to meet every 3 months. And the original development agreement, it was to meet, their requirement was to meet once a year. And we just thought that was not enough communication, guaranteed communication with how important this project is going forward. So we wanted to speed that up and get more face time with Safe Harbor and our partners at Safe Harbor. And that was agreed to. And like I said, so now meeting every 3 months, that has been done. We've met that one, and we're going to continue to meet that one. The settlement agreement doesn't go away, so that this dictates behavior going forward. I can tell you during the process of the last 6 months working on this master plan, one of the things that really encouraged me was the first time we met, you know, Dan showed us some plans, and we came up with some ideas, and then it was like, well, technically, we don't have to meet until another 3 months. And Safe Harbor could have said that, and they could have been like, well, we'll see you in 3 months. And it was their idea. They said, we need to meet more than that. And so we got together, well, I think every 6 weeks, really working on this. It wasn't let's push it to the last minute and just do our once every 3 months so we can say we did it, check, move on. It wasn't like that at all. Like I said, we've met, all of us really multiple times. And like I said, it was their kind of, their pushing of that, hey, we need to meet more than that. And so I was really encouraged by that. But just to let everybody know that that's been happening and that's going to continue to happen. So there's another one, check.
So, and that's basically it. Everything else is kind of the legal terms to tie out the residual portions of the settlement agreement. So as you can see, the heavy lifting has largely been done. I think the goal is to continue to meet as, you know, between the organizations in order to continue to advance the ball forward. And at this point, we have landed restrictions with the development agreement and the plan use development that control the development as it moves forward. And the master plan submittal has been approved today.
Great. Can you speak just quickly, I know just from a 30,000 view that kind of the amendment to the development agreement that does talk about some timelines, some rough timelines.
Sure.
And again, just for everyone's awareness, so if you look at the development agreement, there is an amendment to it, in addition to it, that talks about timelines. And so these aren't hard deadlines in the sense we know, permitting, weather, all kinds of things that affect deadlines. But we do have guideposts that we're shooting for and going for. And again, these are things that Safe Harbor has agreed on, as in they are in the development agreement addition that we just added here. So if you could just speak to those really kind of briefly.
So even at a higher level, state law allows municipalities to enter into development agreements with third parties for the redevelopment of properties that have in excess of 25 Highland acreage. As long as it's between 25 acres and 250 acres, the cap term on that development agreement is 5 years, which is what this property otherwise qualifies for. A condition of a formal development agreement is making sure that you have a project construction timeline built into the scope. It's not, as the mayor alluded to, it's not binding on anyone, but it gives you kind of the high-level parameters around what's supposed to look like. In the most recent iteration in the amendment that we added, there's a 5-year redevelopment plan that is obviously identified, basically in 2 phases, broken into the 2025 to 2028 timeframe. So that would be the initial 3 years, and then a subsequent phase of 28 to 30. The subsequent phase largely deals with development of the residual portions of the residential area. That's all going to largely be market-driven. That's beyond Safe Harbor scope. I think the conversation has been on multiple occasions that they intend to bring in an alternative development partner to be able to pull that property forward. But mainly the idea here is beginning in 25, We're going to start the initial construction of the baseline infrastructure. You're going to work on the marina docks and the upland areas for the Port Royal Village, or for the Port Village, and it will commence in phases. And then various uses will continue to roll, with the ultimate goal of having at least enough vertical construction by 2028 that there is residential consideration on site where folks could live, work, and play, and there's an identified population in the area of 500 people. So that's what was been specifically identified, with an ultimate build-out of up to 1,000. And so I think everything that we see shows us that we're moving in the right direction.
Great, thank you, Lords. Any questions for our esteemed
No,
attorney?
no.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all your work on this. Again, we will, anything else from council on this presentation? So, again, we're very excited to present that to everyone, and hope you guys are excited as us in seeing that we moving in the right direction. And we just want you to know, like I said, sometimes you miss meetings, sometimes you can't be places, but if you look at that, you know, that settlement agreement that was put in place in February of this year, and essentially, I'd say 90 to 95% of it has been accomplished, executed in 10 months, I think speaks a lot to this council, this team, this staff, and then also our partners at Safe Harbor and their willingness to work with us. So we're very excited about the future. Hope you guys are too. With that, we'll turn it over to council briefing.
Sure. All right, the next thing that we'd like to talk about the most, speed humps. We have submitted those applications for Battery Park and Drayton,
Great.
based upon the approval letter that we received from council. I've asked Michael for a status update, so he'll reach out to DOT to see where we stand with those two. Coupled with the installation of those speed humps, we obviously want to see the speed limits dropped, particularly Drayton Drive.
Yeah.
So, villages, we did receive a low bid. We're in coordination with LOCOG to seek out additional grant funding. We're still anticipating those to proceed near the end of December, early January. And so that's all the work to be done down here on the village side, which will include resurfacing of those alleyways. So,
Which roads are we talking about?
basically 9th, 10th, 11th.
Okay.
Yeah, and alleyways.
Okay.
Casablanca drainage improvements, we're still working on that drainage analysis. Obviously, that was rolled up into that master plan that you had a presentation last month, the entire basin study for this particular part of town. As I just mentioned, we did get the presentation, and we're going to close out some grants. Obviously, the creation of that CIP master plan will dictate some discussion at the retreat, where we'll kind of take a look at what the current fee structure is for stormwater utilities, and also gives us that blueprint for moving forward. We're working with one of our financial groups to discuss kind of some projecting of costs based upon those projects in the stormwater utility fund. Paris Avenue Streetscape, that is also a CDBG grant. We did receive $750,000. The project itself, the low bid was $1.64 million, so we're pursuing some additional grant funding through the Department of Commerce, and I'll keep you posted on that. JOCO has extended the validity of their bid through January, so we're working through some of those details. It could be a bit of a challenge. Marshview Park, as we've mentioned, we did submit a grant for $300,000 through CDBG. We also submitted another grant for another federal fund. It addresses kind of access to water, so there's potential for an additional $400,000 in funding. If you recall, including construction of the bathroom, we're in the neighborhood of about $800,000 for that entire project. So we're putting together the funding for that. So the town obviously will have a match for both of those grants, but we will, if we're successful, we should get most of that project funded through the grants. As a matter of fact, the second grant, you're allowed to leverage the CDBG if you're awarded it as the match for that second grant. So it's a good potential opportunity. Sand Beach Causeway, we are working to add a shower rinse-off area, hopefully as idiot-proof and destruction-proof as possible. We're looking at several options there, but I think we'll be putting that out for bid soon. What's that?
Is it more than just a hose? Is that
Exactly. Well, it's going to be a 100-foot hose this time, so I think we'll be okay.
Can't carry it out.
We talk about the Public Works facility, that, that's not that we completely put it on the back burner, but obviously we've got some other priorities for stormwater that we need to take into account. And we do have some stormwater challenges with Public Works because they are part of the basin that abuts Waddell, which is both in the city and the town of Port Royal. So we've got to address it as also part of the Casablanca event. So it kind of straddles both sides there. So it's a little bit harder than we anticipated. Splash pad, Buford Jasper has approved it. We're moving forward with the capacity fees and working with the scheduling for the selected contractor. I think the site plan work is being bid Friday, correct?
It goes out Friday.
It goes out
yes.
Friday, and bids are due on January 13th, so that's moving forward. Short-term rental development permit GIS database, this is what we're putting together so anybody can go onto our website and take a look at any projects in the town, what their status is, where they are, the specifics of scope, whether it's a town project or it's a development project. So you'll be able to go there and take a look at those things, correct? Noah? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Y'all did have the presentation on the Cypress Wetlands Path. Obviously, Phase 1 is completed, and Scott is pursuing funding through Phase 2 coordination, and obviously we'll be working with them to make sure that actually happens. Ritter Circle, Spanish Moss connection. We're looking at how we tie in that Spanish Moss Trail into Ritter Circle until we continue that network that would extend to where Fish Camp and Shell Ring are now. We need to kind of bridge that gap so that we can steer those folks through town. And so we've got to address the pad or that driveway that's there now. We did secure that triangle piece that's adjacent to the easement so that we could expand it a little bit. And then with appropriate signage, we'll get people through until we complete the path all the way through to Sands Beach.
Do we make that a trailhead of some sort then, or, I mean, that's kind of like a stop point essentially where it redirects?
Well, we won't have the space. Did you remember it's a pinch point?
Yeah.
So the long term, we may work with the eventual owners. I think we have an opportunity to maybe address the trailhead piece after they cross Rebo, maybe potentially in that area, long term. But right now, we just want to make sure they have a good transition, get them into the network of roads. So,
Thanks.
Naval Hospital sidewalk, I think this has been in the briefing since 2016. I think the remaining thing left is to remove the silt fencing and do a ribbon cutting.
Ribbon cutting, yes.
Obviously, the sidewalk is being used, and part of the larger concept there is that after we get there, part of this is the conveyance of that road that's between the Naval Hospital and the town park. And so we need to examine long-term what we want to do with that space, whether we convert it into additional parking. Obviously, we have challenges for parking for the farmers market. And so I think we have some opportunities to do some things. Brooks is arranging to kind of address kind of the issues we have now with the road edge and the parking adjacent to the skate park now. So that with a little bit better transition, you can see some of that asphalt breaking off. So I think we've got a plan to address that. Safe Harbor, obviously you just had the presentation, no need to go any further there. Also mentioned was the construction of the shrimp dock and the processing facility. One of the final hurdles we had was the waiver signage by Fish Camp. They graciously did that, so we have the ability to extend the dock in that direction. The other part of that permitting process was an operations and maintenance plan, which we're fleshing out with ATM at the moment, and they should be submitting to DES and the Corps of Engineers within the next couple of weeks, as was mentioned by the mayor. So we have to have a plan in place to address how we handle the processing on site, hours of operation, parking, so we're fleshing all of that out now. So, and we had somewhat of a preliminary plan for several years ago on how we would handle parking and the interface of the processing facility with the dock on Lot G, because we've got some cross easement issues we have to address with both Fish Camp and Shell Ring. And as the owners, we have the ability to address those, I think, more comprehensively, so that's why we did that. All right. Cypress Wetlands, just a quick update. We added a trash guard to one of the outfalls or boxes that connected some of the, we were getting some large trash through there. So Dean Harrigal and his folks Green Pond came up and installed that for us, so that'll address some of that. Obviously, all those systems connect. They're kind of important to be able to cascade down, and so that's being worked on. And kind of following up with that, we're working with the developer of London Square. There is one wetland that is not part of our network officially. I remember I got here in '02, and one of the first things I had to deal with was Vernon Deloach in a lawsuit on this wetland and the adjacent wetland and a pipe that's through there. So we've got to address that pipe, the height of the dike, and how we make it a part of that wetland system. We have the with what Dean has put together, Dean Herrickle has put together and his folks, is a plan to make it another really attractive portion of that system of wetlands for foraging birds, a place where they can go and serve a very functional portion of this Cypress wetlands system. So I'll be bringing it to you guys in January, maybe a plan to move forward with how we address that and make it more accessible to our residents. Capital sales tax, many of you have been following that discussion with the county. They decided to go with, I think it's like a 15-person committee, and with each municipality needing to provide a civilian on that task force or committee, cannot be an elected official and cannot be a staff member. So we'll be coming to you guys in January, hopefully with approval of somebody you have in mind that can serve on that board. Airbnb, we still continue to work that issue. We've reached back out to the lawyers and made the original settlement and discussed the issues, and so that is an ongoing back and forth. And that's all I have in the brief.
Ben, on that Airbnb issue, so for the way it's, there's nothing that we can do. So what it's doing, it's holding up some owners, right, from being able to move forward with, if there's, those fees aren't being paid, that they don't know that they're not paying, or, so they're
Right.
essentially getting double tax?
Well,
Is that the
we've
thing?
when we've looked at some of the information they provided, that wasn't the case.
Okay,
That wasn't the case, that there was this double piece. Now,
Right.
some may actually be doing it, but some of the ones that Amber's actually examined, we did not see that.
okay.
The problem that we're having is we need something to reconcile against the check that Airbnb sends us.
Right.
They're just sending us a check
Yep,
with no backup information.
which is what we thought we got out of with,
We had hoped
got it.
to have gotten that out of that settlement. And there, the other portals are able to provide that information.
Just not Airbnb.
Correct. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate y'all's work on that.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
frustrating.
That is
Appreciate it.
extremely frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, being in the industry, right, like, I hear it from my counterparts,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, man, it's just no, we are not that difficult to work with. It's just, we have certain ordinances we have in place,
Right.
and those things matter to us. It's just the rule of what the rule is, but, them not, we don't, it's like David and Goliath for them, right? They're a single owner calling Airbnb, and they're like, cool, take your property off the platform, don't care. That's really what it is. So just trying to, hopefully we make some progress there for them to be able to get a little bit of resolution. So, no, thanks.
Nobody wants to
I understand
resolve
that.
this more than staff does, because we deal with it
No.
every single day.
No, I visit with them, and again, because I understand their frustration, just to better kind of understand it, so I can, when I'm, getting asked those questions, I do get those questions quite a bit, being a real estate agent. It comes up a lot, just to see how they're looking at it. Now, it frustrates me just listening to it. I don't have to deal with it, they're the ones dealing with it, so I appreciate that.
Cool. Yep, so if you just let us know how what
Absolutely.
the attorney says when he gets back to us, that'd be great. Okay, any comments or anything from town council, from staff? All right.
Some brief, next week brief.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Okay, up next, public comment. I did not get any papers for public comment. So up next, first reading, 2025-20, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2, Public Records Program, Section 2-260 and 2-261 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina, to repeal references to the town records management and to assign FOIA responsibilities to the town clerk and police department. What are we talking about?
We're asking for this to be addressed in title only this evening. Tab, our attorney, is still working out the details with Lisa and staff. But basically, we're trying to clean up the designation of the FOI responsibilities for both the police department and the administrative staff. Because what you see is basically two places where FOIs are going with this. And if you look at the report that we provide monthly, you'll see that most of them are going to the PD. We still vet those to make sure that we're not providing some information we're not supposed to. We've obviously seen how that can go. So this is just an effort to clean that up, and we'll be able to have it ready. We can defer action on first reading until February, but we wanted to get the ball rolling on this.
Say that again.
If you would choose to defer, I'm sorry, I rhymed. We can do that in January, but if we suggested title only to get,
Go, all right, so we'll just do first reading now and then talk about it, okay. All right, well, with that, I'll entertain a motion that we approve for first reading 2025-20.
So moved.
Second.
All done. Any comments, discussions, questions? No. All right, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, up next, 2025-21, an ordinance to authorize the town manager to convey excess real property to facilitate construction of sidewalks within the town described as Beaufort County Tax District 110, Map 10, Parcel 158, better yet known as 1008A 12th Street, 30 feet of sidewalks.
I know this seems like a minor piece, but it's an extension of an existing sidewalk, so that's why we're able
Hey,
to
sidewalks
proceed
every-
with that small of a
Sidewalks will take, every piece counts, so. I'll entertain a motion that we approve 2025-21.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion, comments?
Get them connected.
Okay, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, up next, more sidewalks.
Yeah, another-
2025-22, you got it?
Yeah, another 30 feet.
Okay. This one is going 1008D 12th Street, 30 more feet. So entertain a motion that we approve 2025-22.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. 60 feet. Okay, up next, council action. Talking about 2026, all right. Man. That is crazy. So, this is our council meeting for next year. As you know, workshops first Wednesday, council meetings the second Wednesday. How long has it been, has that been forever? Okay. Okay.
34 years.
Yeah.
That I know of.
So here's our council meeting right now, so you can go ahead and everybody just put that on your calendar right now, 6:30. We'll see you here for every single one, right? Right? Okay. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the 2026 council meeting calendar.
So moved.
Get a second? All right. Any changes? Okay, all right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Up next, approval of the associate municipal judge.
Obviously, we have Aaron Dean here this evening.
Did a great job.
Yes, Judge Grimley reached out to us and said, I think it's Judge Kittredge said we needed to create a little bit formality for you, and Judge Grimsley suggested that we might be the appropriate body to approve. Judge Dean is an associate, and obviously, there aren't not a lot of financial responsibilities for the town. It's just, I would say, I don't want to call it a housekeeping issue, but in essence, it kind of is. It involves her having to swear in all of our officers from time to time.
Okay.
That was a joke, but I'm kidding.
Just so you all know, I'm the treatment court judge
Okay.
for Beaufort County and Jasper County. And I don't know how much you know about the program, but it's a diversionary program. I know the mayor probably does.
For really quick, treatment court, a lot of people know that as drug court.
Right,
So, yes,
yeah.
that was a very nice way to say that, just layman's terms, so, yeah, yeah.
So it gives people the ability to rehabilitate rather than incarcerate. It's a program run by the Solicitor's Office. Actually, the 14th Circuit, we have courts in Beaufort, Jasper, Colleton, and Hampton, not in Allendale yet, but we do a good job. But the Supreme Court of South Carolina is trying to make us all consistent, all the treatment courts throughout the state. And part of the measure of doing that, Judge Kittredge wants those of us that are attorneys but not yet a judge to be appointed to be an associate judge, so that the Supreme Court has jurisdiction over us to make sure that we're doing the things that we are supposed to be doing as judges. And just really quickly, the 14th Circuit program has a recidivism rate, and that's how our treatment courts are judged, which means how many people reoffend within 2 years of completing the program. I'm very proud to say we are at 17%. So that means we almost have 80% of the graduates of our program that do not reoffend within 2 years of graduation. Happy to answer any questions about treatment court, and appreciate you all considering this resolution that's before you today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you
Any
for
questions from council?
continuing to do it.
Yeah, okay. Hearing no comments or questions from council, I'll entertain a motion that we approve.
I'd be honored to enter a motion to approve.
Second it.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, great. Up next, important dates. It is a busy time of the year, and we've got a bunch of dates. Van, what you got?
All right. There wasn't anything on this. This is the only one. All right. Saturday, December 13th, Small Business Redo Day. This is from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And really quick, just want to encourage everybody, small businesses are, especially in Port Royal, are, the majority of our businesses are small businesses. They've got, owner-operator, one person, maybe 2 or 3 employees. And so the holiday season is very important to them. That day is also important. As you can see, that's the golf cart parade. So we really want to try and make this Saturday just kind of a great day in Port Royal. So if you can get out, there's been a lot of information put out about some of the shops and restaurants having live music and certain deals and events going on. So just, look into that and try to make, this Saturday, the golf cart parade is going to be amazing. So, try and spend just all day in Port Royal and just kind of bebop around and say hi to everybody and make it into some of our shops and restaurants and spend a little money and, get that Christmas cheer going. So that, like I said, I'm looking forward to Saturday, so I didn't mean to cut you off. What's
That's
next?
right. Also on Saturday, December 13th, is the Christmas Golf Cart Parade from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
So it starts at 6.
Yes.
Coming down, and then ends at Shell Ring. All right.
Sunday, December 14th, Paris Island Marine Band Holiday Concert. They'll be located at the gravel lot between Zenden and Windhorse at 3 p.m.
Another great thing, I'd encourage you to come. They did it last year at the same
Awesome.
spot, and
It's
they do an amazing job. It's really a treat to get hear a Christmas concert for free outdoors from the United States Marine Corps Band. It's pretty cool. So if you're around, come check it out. Like I said, it's a fun time. Bring a chair and have a good time. So.
Yeah, bring it here.
It's quite a conundrum.
They were.
All right. Monday, December 15th, the Town of Port Royal Business Breakfast. They'll be located right here at Port Royal Town Hall. That's from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Speaking of those small businesses, if you know anybody, we'd like to try to get as many of our business owners in the area here as possible. This is just a chance for us. We want to say thank you to them for investing their time, their energy, their talents in the town. We also want to talk to them and discuss just kind of goals for next year and collaboration, working together and moving forward and kind of wrapping up this year and getting ready for next year. So anyone that's business owner in the room, please make it here. Breakfast is on us. We'll be here. And if you know anybody that is a business owner in town, please, if they haven't already heard, please make sure that they're here. So we just want to say thank you and get ready for next year with them.
For the last 2 years, I've attended this one. It's awesome. It turns into a solutions party.
Yep.
It's really getting in front of small business owners and really understanding and growing an appreciation for what they went through the whole year. It allows us the opportunity to work for you and getting ahead of stuff and leaning into the new year on how we can get there together based on what you saw, not what we saw as your customers or anything like that, or your elected representatives, what you were seeing from behind the counter or what you weren't seeing, because that becomes really important too, so we can, drive some solutions and maybe allot some resources for you. So, really important morning, I think. So if you do have a friend who's a small business owner, choke them, drag them, beat them, bring them. All right, and if you need help, the mayor is willing to go pick them up.
Send the
Yeah,
mayor.
absolutely.
Then we'll feed them.
Yeah.
Monday, December 15th, Santa riding through Port Royal will be at the Park, Legends, Liberty Point, Azalea Square, Shell Point Farm. That's typically from 6 to 8 p.m. Schedule's a little inexact, depends on how much Santa wants to yell. Wednesday, December 17th, Santa will be riding again, Waddell Road, Lenore Drive, Azalea Drive, Smilex Avenue, Casablanca Circle, and
They've
Riverside
been
Drive.
going great so far, and I just want to say thank you to our fire department, and because like I said, those guys take time out to do that. I know they look forward to it. Santa is amazing. He does an amazing job.
And Port Royal PT.
Yes, the PD's been leading the way. It's been great, and it's just something. If you could see the kids' faces, they light up. It's amazing to see them get so excited. Santa Claus is driving past their house in a fire truck.
See the adult
Screaming
faces.
Sometimes say,
something
yeah,
up and down.
the adults are going crazy too. Just to see the kids light up in that way. And I've had so many parents reach out to me later and say that was amazing, especially people that are new here. We've had some people send emails and say, that did not happen where I used to live. That is so cool. So we really look forward to it.
Yeah, Santa told me I was on the naughty list when I saw it.
And Santa's got the megaphone, so if he sees you, he will call you out. Yes.
With good reason.
Yes.
Be careful.
He did say that to you. I heard
I've got-
him.
How much? I've got a couple weeks left.
Yeah.
Get that straightened out. And you'll fit Camellia Drive, Astor Street, Royal Palms Road, and Rosemont Avenue. And then Wednesday, Friday, December 24th through the 26th, will be closed. And then Thursday, January 1st, will be closed also for New Year's Day.
That's amazing. End of the year, crazy.
One add to those, to that date, tomorrow, Thursday, 11 December, Santa riding through Port Royal again. Shadow Moss, Aberley Point, Broad River Village. 6 to 8 also.
Good catch, good catch.
And on the 13th, from 9 to 11, AMVETS Women's Auxiliary has Santa Claus there. Bring your kids.
Yeah.
They have pancakes, sausage, juice, and the kids will be decorating cookies and sitting on Santa's lap, and each child gets a toy. So please, anybody that has kids, bring them out, 9 to 11. And then come on down to Port Royal and shop.
That's, we have to make it part of the day. It's perfect. Any other dates to add?
Oh, I do, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
And this is kind of an enduring deal, but 2 weeks out of the month, this month, the second day is the 23rd of December. Operation Patriots Fob is partnered with Mr. Chris Smith, who's a yoga instructor from the YMCA. We do veteran first responder active duty yoga in the ERA Evergreen Real Estate offices here on Paris, 820, from 6:30 to 7:30. So if you haven't tried your hand at yoga, you got some veteran friends, some police officers, some firefighters, nurses, EMS staff, dispatchers, come join us. I just recently started doing yoga, and I'll tell you, it's something else. It puts you in a different state of mind and gives me a different mood. So we'd love to see you guys
You
there.
look lighter, yeah. you just,
It is, you know, you get an hour to yourself, if
Yeah.
nothing else.
No, I had a Marine friend of mine, he did go and do the class, and he literally said, he goes, I have not felt this good in years. Like,
Yeah, it's
that's what
awesome.
he
It's
said,
so much fun. It's a great group.
Yeah. Okay. Any more dates? Like I said, I know it's a busy time, a lot going on, so, okay. All right, hearing that is public comment. Don't have any public comment, so we'll move into council comments.
Could I make a public comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have another date.
Okay, gotcha.
Nick Borgini. Kappa does a Pirates Plunge on New Year's Day at the Sands Beach. And this year, the tides are a little difficult, so it's going to be 3:30 in the afternoon rather than early in the morning.
Okay.
It'll be warmer for us, right?
It'll be a little, it'll be an hour away from the warmest part of the day.
Give you time to
so-
wake up from the night before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's for the benefit Kappa's Dancing with the
That's
Stars.
great, that's the pirate plunge?
Yep.
Always fun.
We did it
Good catch,
last
thanks for
year.
bringing that up. Yeah, we all went out last year,
We did
that's
it
great.
last year. It was
So
fun.
yeah, if you can, come out.
It's
You
cold.
were there, yeah. Our
And
attorney
chilly.
was there, that was great.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, council comments. I'll start over here. Councilman Ashmore.
Good, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Councilman Owens.
Thank you all.
Mayor Pro
Same
Tem.
thing. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Thank y'all for showing up and really understanding what Safe Harbor's doing and getting it firsthand and not through the grapevine, and you know the true facts, and we appreciate that.
Councilman Guerrero.
Thank you so much for everything, keeping us and holding us accountable. That's important to us. It doesn't always sound pretty, but we did sign up for that, and we earned that from you, and we also take the confidence you have in us. We don't take that lightly, so continue that, please. Press us as hard as you can, because that's what's going to make us the town that we all yearn to be, in any endeavor. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and if you're traveling, please be safe. And again, keep our servicemen and women, police officers, firefighters, first responders in your prayers. And again, thank you so much to allow me to be in the best town on earth, man. This is awesome.
So, yeah, just my comments as well, reiterate everything everybody said. Thank you all so much for being here. I don't know who made it out last Wednesday, but it was really magical. It's such a great night in Port Royal. We look forward to that, the Christmas tree lighting. It really starts the Christmas season for me and my family, and I know a lot of us. So I wish if we could, because sometimes you don't always see them, but they do a lot of work. If we could just give a round of applause to our Public Works Department here. Every year, Jeff and his team, they get that tree looking nice.
It's beautiful.
They get the
Refreshments.
park,
Cook the
they get
hot
the park
dogs.
looking beautiful. They cooked over 300 hot dogs, they got rid of every single one. Again, that was one of those, you had people that, they were just like, y'all do this every year? It's like, yeah, absolutely. And it's, where can you go see Santa, see a Christmas tree, hear Christmas carols sung, go get some food, and literally all for free outside, and just do it together in a community.
And I think thanks to the administrative staff, they put together those 300-plus bags that.
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes. All the goodie bags. They work on that the whole week.
They aren't pre-made, they're all put together.
They work on that all week. If you come into town hall that week, you'll see in the middle of the room that they all work in, they line up tables and it's just, and it is like a workshop, and they're just filling out bags all week.
There is
So-
no chocolate eaten by staff while that's going
No,
on.
exactly, saved every single one.
I trust that.
So,
That's true.
okay, well, thank you all for that. Just so you know, so after this, we are going into executive session to speak with our attorneys about contractual litigation advice. We potentially could take action afterwards, so if you want to hang around for that, we are going to go into executive session. But before we do, really quick, since the holidays, let's all just sing a verse of Jingle Bells together before we close. All right, everybody, you guys too, all right? 1, 2. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey! Merry Christmas, Port Royal. Thank you so much. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, we're going to executive session. Thank you, everyone, and we are back from executive session. We are not taking any discussion, any action right now from executive session. We did meet with our attorneys to discuss contractual litigation advice. With that, that is the end of our meeting. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Merry Christmas.